whole box set. I bet after you watch it, you gonna like it.
What do you think? Just because I'm British, I haven't watched fucking John Wick. Stupid little bastard.
Kian, bro, I love you, bro.
Ooh.
You're awesome.
Ooh.
Oh,
been on a first date yet? What the fuck?
Oh man.
Already pulling out the love you bomb. Not even one date. Didn't even buy me a drink yet, man.
Hey man, one day you come over here to the States, get into WB. I will definitely buy the first 5 rounds.
That's also a huge advantage I have on like the competition with that type of stuff. Is like I can fly anywhere I want for free, man. Like I can fly to the UK for free. I can fly literally anywhere in the United States for free. Like it's like I've got some pretty good privileges there, but I just haven't learned how to take advantage of those yet. But I could buy a low-cost workstation in some other state and just fly there and have my equipment set up there. I mean, like, I could do whatever. And then that would help with the internet issue.
Are you streaming now?
Yeah, I just started it up. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are we ready to do another round of this?
Yeah. We'll get back into there. But
you can join on me if you want. I've already got it loaded up.
But circling back to what I think that the point I brought up before is that if they just add some more little is more to me. You know what I mean? Playing the Ghost Recon games in Wildlands, I actually enjoyed the Easter eggs just as much as I did the story. Just because it made you think and made you go out there and explore regions and areas of the map that not most people would actually go explore, but it gave them incentive to go out to these regions and actually just locate everything there is on the map and find these things. And there was a benefit to that. I mean, there was a reward for that. I mean, it kept people engaged. And not only that, but the missions were so well thought out. I think what was the one Easter egg? I forget the guy with the red mask. We're going to the caves.
El Purito or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think it was like
El Puto. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. El Puto, bésame el culo, puto. But no.
See, now you've got him talking forever. By the way, Zero, he just never fucking shuts up now.
I don't mind.
You're done fucked up now. He's gonna put you to sleep.
As long as it's like not backwash from what other people say, and it's like actual meaningful content, I don't mind. If it's just gibberish, then fuck off. But
no, man. But I mean, you can attest to that. What I'm saying there, right, Day? Like you go out there, like you put Wildlands in, and you go play those Easter eggs, and then you put Breakpoint in, and what do you have? You have the launch story, which fell flat. And then you had nothing. I mean, besides the little end most minute content they had that took you 3 minutes to beat, which really didn't require a lot of effort to do, And then it's like you don't have those Easter eggs to keep you engaged and make you think. Like it's not like you log into a mission and it takes you days to figure out where to go from here to the next. You know what I'm saying? Like. It's pretty cut and dry with all the content they add into the game, into Breakpoint, I should say.
Yeah, it's really...
and it's.
I'm sorry, Al. I'm gonna be rude here. I'm fucking.
Sorry. Don't accept that, dude.
Bro, I am gonna slap the shit out of you one day. I hope you know that.
Oh man.
Yeah, you'd like it.
I'm waiting on it.
Fuck off. Oh, this is why I hate you.
No, but that's Motherland was like probably, dude, it was a long time coming, and a lot of people were skeptical of how it would, the reception it would get. And I'm gonna tell you right now, dude, like now every time I turn on my PS4, my PlayStation, whatever, I am constantly putting this game on.
Mm-hmm.
Like it keeps me zoned into this game,
Bro, it
left and
fucks
right.
my sleep routine up, and I don't even like this game.
It's like when I want to go to sleep, I just turn it on. I go back to the first mission in the story, and
No, it's because of
No, no, no.
fucking
I wouldn't even get back to the. No, like honestly, there's going to be a lot of people. The replayability is there because I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, almost everybody out there is probably restarting the conquest over and over and over and over again.
Mad. Why did you leave?
I
You
just
left
joined.
a little bit early, but it's all good. You gotta wait for the XP to pop up on your screen.
It did pop up on my screen.
Oh, okay, you're good then.
Yeah.
If you join in late
50
sometimes,
skill points.
it'll yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the mission here. You were just in my lobby, but you're not in it anymore.
Scrub.
I got it.
So what is your take on it, Day? I mean, if you had to change, if you had control, development control, or had any kind of like ability to change the game in any way, what would you do to make this game really pop?
So there's three main changes, and I've been preaching this since the game came out, pretty much. But three main changes: I'd get rid of the variants and just completely make it to where like you have the base rifle, and then you can sit there and pretty much like, you know, make your own variant. So if you want it to be like halfway between a short and a like you want some features from the short and then the other features from the tactical version of a weapon, like you can make it. You can just straight up like make it, bro. That's what's up. So basically, and then like also like just pretty much complete weapon customization. Like obviously you have the rail on your weapon, which this feature was supposed to come like people were under NDA and stuff. So like they couldn't really discuss this, and now it's not in the game with this update, so they're still under NDA on this, but I'm not. So the top of your weapon rail, you only have one option, like you put the scope on the rail, right? But in this update, it was supposed to be to where you could customize it. You could put it towards the center, towards the beginning of the rail, or towards the end of the rail on the scope. And they actually accidentally implemented this in Ember Sky. So they added the Desert Eagle suppressed pistol, and it actually had the red dot sight towards the end of the rail. So they started implementing it in that update on accident, but they just never added the feature. So they obviously different weapons have the attachment on different parts of the rail now, but they just haven't went through and added the customizability option for that. So obviously, instead of just aiming down your weapon and seeing the same sight you've seen since the game's come out, I mean, now you even have a different view of your own rifle. Like, so that even adds like even more replayability with that. Gunplay wise, because people like variations in playstyle just based on even the same weapon they're using, like switching attachments. The second thing is like obviously like difficult content. So not only do people want to play content, a lot of players like to conquer difficult content. So the thing with the raid, it's a little bit long, right? So maybe make smaller versions of what we already have in the game, right? So we have this big Golem Island raid. For some players, it takes hours and hours and hours. So what if instead of having like 4 bosses, they do something like what you said earlier with like they add like a monthly mission, and that mission just has a really difficult boss, right? And instead of it being an easily killable boss, like they make these bosses really difficult, but the rewards are very lucrative, right? And they just add one in every month. And it's not that difficult to add in just like a small little mission every month with a difficult boss. I mean, and obviously make it in an arena where you can't have vehicles, obviously for obvious reasons. And just like make it really cool. Like maybe make it to where there's like a armored column of APCs and you have to take them down or something, and you have to go throw C4 in the middle of the road. Kind of like the mission structure of Metal Gear Solid, kind of like just add in like some of those smaller missions
100.
into.
Yep. Yeah, I everything you just said right there is everything I think I feel everybody who is a Tom Clancy Ghost Recon fan that they can appreciate and they can get behind 100%. Like that was one of my things. Like, okay, going back to when you said about the uh, the attachments and the misplacements and stuff like that. Like, I really feel like they missed the mark, not only with exactly what you said, but also with them getting the right calibers right. And that was one of the things I always argued about from day one because I mean, you got gun stats out there that are completely off the wall. I mean, you have pistols out there that were actually more powerful than actual assault rifles. Yeah. So I mean, it's and going to the content discussion on uh, the remark that you made before, or the commentation that you made before about having the about the content, more difficult content, have them add more balls. Dude, I've been wanting this since like day one, since launch, because it's pretty bad when you log into the game and day one, the first mission, the first exact mission, you can kill the main boss with a rocket launcher. I mean, that just takes away the canon story. I mean, you understand? You get me, right? You understand where I'm coming from, right? Like it takes away the canon story about it, and that they were aiming for, and it you shouldn't make things that accessible for people. And yes, I understand. Like, if people out there want to actually play the story for what it is, they won't do that, But it's the fact that you're leaving these doors open, and even the very end mission wasn't all that difficult. Like it's in Wildlands, I think you had to kill like what was it, day 3 to 4, 3 or 4. You had to clear 3 or 4 zones before you can actually go for El Sueño, and that would give you the canon story, right? And then you had, if you completed the whole map in Wildlands, you got a different ending. I think they should have went that route with this game. They should have gave multiple endings to this game depending upon decisions, and just adding more content along the lines of putting these Easter eggs in game for people to go explore. Give them a reason to go explore areas of the map that you would never go.
Exactly,
You're utilizing
and
everything.
what people don't know is this game actually does have 2 endings, right? So it's pretty lackluster of a difference. But if you kill Walker somehow before some of the major cutscenes, then he'll take his place instead. And that's not really that big of a difference, but there is a slight difference there. So if they're gonna put in that effort to put that into the game, then why couldn't they have gone in and just created an alternate ending or a branch ending instead of doing something that minuscule of it that doesn't really even matter? I mean, it's just like kind of weird.
When back when the game first launched, I think the ability to kill Walker was like straight from the get go. I think someone exploited the mission out, or the I guess you can, I don't know if you would call it a glitch or not, or if it's in game you're able to do it. I'm sure it's wouldn't be classified as such, but someone exploited that out very soon on. And I remember when I played it and I eliminated Walker. I just wanted to test the theory out. I know I got the silver stake, but then like throughout the story, I still had cutscenes where Walker was in the game, and I guess the one cutscene where you're in the lab and he's behind the glass and he's sitting there talking to you and you're on the other side. I'm sitting there thinking like, I just killed you, dude. Like, started the game like a couple missions ago. How am I talking to you right now? But then I guess they did some kind of patch to it and modified it or some way to where Hill takes his place. But I really feel like if they should have came out with Motherland, the content like Motherland, I should say, right off the bat, include it into the game, and then maybe I even brought this up with one of my good buddies, Kean. I brought him up too, and I was like, hey, I said, even if they could have finished the story out with Walker and Wildlands, gave the people in Wildlands a little bit of extra content to take care of that, and focus Breakpoint on something completely new and original, and have it be all about the boat arcs. Because how many people who play this game are so fed up with the Sentinels and the Wolves? Like, the enemy archetypes fell flat from day one. Nobody really, there really wasn't a challenge with them, and if they were to implement, like, you got the oppressors, suppressors, you got the cloaking, you got the optical camo and stuff like that. Straight off the bat, it would have took off at a good start. So I mean, it's I'm interested because a lot of people out there have a lot of ideas.
Here, I'm just gonna do an audio test real quick.
Because a lot of people out there have a lot of ideas.
Okay, it's working. Just making sure. Just making sure everything you're saying is actually being broadcasted. Which it is. You're good.
Okay, so sorry, I was making sure, but a lot of people have. Everyone who's a Ghost Recon fan has a lot of ideas on what they would implement into the game. I know there's some people out there, like, you can categorize them in like 3 different types. You can be people who just care about the cosmetics and the way and the way your character looks. And most people are all about the gameplay and the mechanics. And then you got the category 3 where you got a mixture of both, right?
Yep.
And everyone's got how they would improve this game. But I really feel that, all in all, like, if you were to really think about it, cosmetics come and go. You get bored with something over like 2-3 weeks of time. Gameplay, you get tired of the same mission, replaying it over 2 or 3 times in a row. You get tired of it. That's why it's always good to implement kind of like a mixture of both, like what you recommended, where you're like, hey, you know what? If they were to just implement like a mission every month and have a boss that's harder to fight, that's more challenging to fight, and given a reward, like a
give us those outfits, or just a variant to weapon. Yeah, exactly.
That right there would hit a home run with the whole community. And I know a lot of people are probably going to comment on this, but I know a lot of people are, Advanced Warfighter fans. I know a good bit of people are Future Soldier fans, but the thing is that, as time goes on, games change. And, I don't think that change is a bad thing, as long as you know how to implement changes in the game, if that makes any sense. Like, if you know how to touch the core fan base, people who are really gung-ho about the Ghost Recon franchise, who really are into the lore, and into the backstories and into the gameplay and the mechanics. I mean, you're talking about the whole shebang. I feel like this right here, like if they were to just came out the gate from day one with content like Motherland, not Motherland itself, but like Motherland. Whether you wanted to make it about the boat arcs at first, then implement something new, and give people those challenging bosses, like you said before, once a month. I mean, it is a live service game, and, they said, hey, we'll add more content to you, as the game ages. Like, as you play, we will give you the content. Within the first year, we had side missions that were completely, utterly monotonous. That the replayability value was not there with those. I mean, we still get those in the story mode. So it's like, if they were to have somebody or a team separate to come into the studio or whatever and kind of sit down and say, okay, how can we implement new faction missions, side missions to keep people, engaged, And if no one was able to do that, then at least have someone, a group, 2, 3 people, 4 people in a team, put their minds together, figure out how they can implement, like, I don't know, like the Easter egg missions, like in Wildlands. So I'm looking at the map right now, and the map is majority of what I'm seeing of the map is all water. You got this one big map here.
Water and islands
water.
And islands with nothing on them, man. There's just little tiny islands.
Yes. So I'm looking at an island. I'm looking at the whole map right now, which they said, oh, it's, there's a lot to do, and I'm not knocking the map whatsoever when it comes down to, the exploration and the places where you're able to walk and actually do these missions and explore and stuff. But they could have added, they could have opened up Mobile Island over to the right. They could have went up here and opened up the island further to the north. I mean, if they were to just came out the gate from day one and opened up, now I'm not saying all of them, you always, just kind of get people, let people dip their toes in to the mechanics. And then over a course of time, 4 or 5 months, 6 months or something like that, then release another island, but have its own separate missions there. And have them zoned out like Motherland, like the way these boss missions are. Like, I'm looking at, like, you got, I mean, how many zones is there in Conquest? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, you got 4 bosses that you have to take out, or I think it's 3. I could be wrong on that.
Well, even in this update, they didn't add anything in the Windy Islands, which is a really, really like unused part of the map where there's trash bases and stuff down there. Like, they could have definitely added missions down there, and that's an area pretty much no main missions took us to, and it just was pretty much just not even considered. They just did Harui's mission on that island, and then on her island, and then that was pretty much it down there. You know what I'm talking about? The recycling island, the trash island, and then there's one other island down towards the south of the map, right under Harui's base.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was unused in this update.
All unused, and then you got Egg Island too. That was completely unused.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Egg Island was utterly unused, and they could have added like some, like, you know what? To be honest with you, I know Hill's mission. I think it was on Egg Island. I think it was.
Yeah, there's that secret underground base on there.
Hill's mission was on Egg Island. Exactly, underground base, but it's like there was nothing there for anybody but that mission. There were side missions, faction missions, or Easter egg or something, like one rare Easter egg or something on Egg Island. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how hard you want to make it, but I mean, they 100% agree with you on everything you just said. 100%.
What happened?
Do you not need to quit before the mission ends?
No, before it ends, yeah, but that audio log is literally like 2 minutes long. So as long as I leave before that's about towards its end, I'm good. So I usually come up here, kill her, and then leave.
Dude, I'm sorry. Bro, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like really passionate about,
Yeah, my mouth's dry because it's not been open in so long. Listen to your fucking
Hey, dude, I mean, it's just...
You like talking, we know.
No, man, it's just I really like the Tom Clancy franchise, dude, and I really wish that they would have had it right the first time.
Well, and then there's also you know what other base they didn't use? What was it? They didn't use the testing zone, Driftwood Islet's testing zone in this update. They didn't use the Coal Island, and what's the other island? The island, man, I don't know what it's called right there. It's not labeled.
Up here, I'm looking at it. I'm gonna look at it right now. Hold on here. Which one?
I have it marked if you're in my game. If not, it's right above Coal Island. It's in Fenbog. It's the 2 islands that are at like it has a huge base in it, and then the other one has a huge base in it. And neither of them were used. I have it marked.
You know what? I think one more minute.
Oh yeah, okay, I see it. Yeah.
That entire area was unused.
Yeah, right above Coal Island. The
both islands
Muscle
there.
Beach.
Yeah.
Muscle Beach.
And it's just crazy that they wouldn't use these locations in this update. If I mean, like, they're huge bases, you know.
I don't understand why they didn't want to use it, man. Because Muscle Beach would be a copyright infringement.
Oh, probably. Probably.
But, no, dude, like, it's crazy. I'm looking at the map right now, and I'm like...
The amount of space that's just unused in this game still is ridiculous. And then, like, obviously, like, every tiny small island is unused. I don't think they're... Man, a lot of it's unused now that I'm looking at it. Wow.
Yeah, like I said, the majority of it's all water, man. Like, they
and
could
here's
put
the
an
thing,
island. They could put an island like right beneath Egg Island and Moa Island, down to the south a little bit, like right above where the S and T is.
Or what what I was thinking they would do with this update is I thought the aircraft. What was it? Was it an aircraft carrier off the coast? What was it? I was thinking it would park.
Navy,
it was a Navy ship. I thought it was gonna park between the main island and Moa. I thought it was gonna come into the bay right there, and then like it would be a physical location. Maybe crashed.
You know what would be a good idea?
I'm not too sure.
You know what would be a good idea? And now I'm reaching here for a minute, but exactly where you said it would be a good idea to put the Navy ship.
Yeah.
Like, put it down there. Okay, so make that a base of operation. That instead of Erawan, make it that.
Yeah, because we didn't have an Erawan in this update. We didn't have an Erawan in this update. Like, that would have been great to replace it.
Yeah, like, put a ship down there, and then make that the base of operation where you hook up with other ghosts and other... That way it makes more sense. You know what I mean? And, like, put the hub there, and then you can sit there, and that could be, like, where... I mean, it's just gives you more of a immersion feeling, if that makes any sense.
But the real question is, why the fuck couldn't we use Erwin anyway? Like, what? Why can't we use that?
Apparently they, like, found it or something? I don't know.
But why? How? Like,
But then, like, who found it is the thing. Like, isn't Sentinel and the Wolves gone? Like, it's kind of weird.
But you'd think that they'd send the ghosts to Erwin to secure it again and to check for survivors.
Yeah, that's also a big thing. They didn't explain what happened to the people that were at Erawan, really.
No.
They mentioned that Jay Skell was extracted from the island, but like they didn't say like a huge civilian presence was removed from the island.
No. I mean, you hear a dialogue from rebels, you know, saying that they're happy to be out of Erwin because it sounds like it's starting to smell like a locker room, but like it still doesn't.
But what happened to the leaders? Yeah, like Maria and the other guy. I mean,
Scopes or whatever it's called, yeah.
I mean, in reality, their voice actors probably didn't come back.
Possible.
I wouldn't blame them.
Possible. Like,
most likely.
I mean, let me shake my 8-ball.
I mean, and I don't know. And then what happened to the child that was in Erawan? Did she? I mean, is it kind of just like a hint that they all died? Like,
I don't know, man. But if I hear this again, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah.
That's how it was for a long time, dude. And that kidnapped little airplane was driving me nuts.
Oh, you're just jealous you're too old to play with airplanes.
Hey, man, I play with airplanes all the time, man.
Oh, yeah, I can tell.
I play with real planes, so...
I see what you're doing. Touche.
Alright, listen, Dave, you got me beat. Okay.
You work for Ryanair, behave yourself.
But dude, like right off the bat, just imagine if they were to add like a home base of operation.
That would have been
You know what I mean? Like
badass.
where you had to go to. Yeah, like
Well,
if you had, like if you went to Erawan, okay, and had radio. Okay, so that would instead of Erawan, they called it Erawan. Instead of going there, that would be called like a refugee camp. Dude, screw the Erawan name. Just make it refugee camp. You had to make a way there to talk with someone who had radio, uh, who had the ability to reach out, that had, you know, the intel and the radios to reach out past the island, right?
Also, why would
And then
Nomad
you had,
give a shit about the rebels and about the homesteaders anyways? Like, a military
exactly.
operative on a mission isn't just gonna stop and say, okay, I'm gonna do all these little missions real quick for the civilians
I'll
here.
be
It's
I'm
like,
not saying they're cold-hearted. Yeah,
it's
a question for
they're
you.
not cold-hearted, but the mission is what matters. So when they were flying to Erewhon or flying to Aurora in the beginning, what were they flying there for?
Because
They were
ship's
flying
got
for the mission. It was a mission. So like letting personal feelings, but they did twist the story at launch that it was all about you being alone and being like one versus all instead of you having a crew of people, which, you know, beta, probably day two, no, more than likely day two. I know he did probably before I did, but it's like when you played that, you had a good sense that you got the feeling of so much potential, and then whenever the game launched and you realize how the missions played out, you're like, what is this? Like, okay, that was quick. Okay,
Wait,
that was quick. You know,
my
it's
radio
like,
call ended and I didn't even get anything.
so I mean, it's just man, if they would have came off where your first mission had to go to Erewhon and you had to link up with somebody with uh, radio capabilities to reach out to like your you know your captain, officer, whatever, reach out to the military and say, hey, you know, like I need help. Everyone went down, and then they brought a Navy. What was the Wasp? The Wasp? That's what it was called. They
yep.
bring the Wasp in, and they sit off coast, and that would be your main base of operation. They're like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on here. We need to figure out, you know, like who's doing what, and then make the story about they're trying to figure out what's going on.
Exactly, and
at
then
the end,
this
you
update, that would have made this update so much more
Yes.
badass, because then you would have had these boat arcs,
Yep.
but then you would have had this U.S. carrier just, or U.S. ship just in the fucking place. So obviously you'd have like little water skirmishes there, and then you'd also have like pretty much like instead of the rebels all over the island fighting, it would be like pretty much U.S. soldiers sitting there fighting, like just in like in their camo. So that would have been really cool.
But
And how cool would that be?
How
How cool would that be? Just think about it. If you had a Navy ship or a military ship sitting off coast that you could take a chopper in between operations, fly to, land on. You know what I mean? Even if you had to walk up to like a door or something on the ship, and it was a cutscene, you went into your main base of operation where you had all you ghosts there. Like that was the hub. That would be the hub. You know what I mean? That would be kick ass. That would immerse people so much more than I think what it would do with the main story that they portrayed in here
Oh yeah.
at launch.
It's just, it's ridiculous how much potential there is for this game.
I mean, dude, feel free to stop me if you think I'm going off the rails. But
Well, I think Brother
just
Man
like-
has a question or a statement real quick.
all right, yeah, go ahead.
Who? Oh, me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, but I mean, if you notice, so in like the main campaign, we ended up stopping him from. He ended up stopping trying to contact the US. Like he stopped trying to get in contact with them. Like once that he saved a Fox guy or something, you know, when drone swarm, he first seen them, he stopped trying to contact the US after that, though, if you noticed. Like, there was nothing else to do about getting the message out that they need help. I don't know if you've noticed that, but that's what I noticed. Just
But then, like, somehow he got off the island between then and
I know.
now, and they didn't explain that at all.
Because we didn't deactivate the drone swarm in the campaign, so.
But somehow we fought the Terminator.
Yeah.
Get down! Get down now!
It's like we fought the Terminator, but somehow we can't contact the US. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Now, what would have been cool is if we fought the Terminator, and at the end of that mission, like, we called in, like, we got in contact with the US, and that's when we first get back in contact with them, and that would have been a really good point in the story to do so. And they send in, because the drone swarm's deactivated by this point, right? Or that's what the story kind of hinted towards. Like, the drones are down. And, like, you call in, like, for help because you finally get, like, radio frequency, like, because you killed the Terminator, like, now like the jamming presence over the island is gone. You can contact the US ship. They send in 2 jets and it just levels the Terminator facility after you killed the main guy. That would have been legit. Like, they just do an airstrike on it or something. And then, obviously...
I'm going to say this right now. Yep. Like, I think everybody's in the... Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, you can go ahead.
I have a good idea. But instead of the Terminator, the way the mechanics are in this game, and the way they implemented the optical camo and the Terminator missions before, how cool would it be if they were to implement any kind of crossover? How many people enjoyed the Predator mission in Wildlands? Implement that into this game, and oh my god, the immersion and the intensity would be off the charts.
Yeah, but I didn't even like the Terminator mode. It was so short and it just didn't make sense. It didn't need to be in this game. It makes 0 sense for it to be in here.
What is it? The Terminator event?
The Terminator mode. Yeah,
it was kind of weird.
The biggest flop ever. Like, why does he randomly just appear out of nowhere in here? Like, there's no story.
And then afterwards, nothing's mentioned about it either. You know, it's kind of like it just happened and then everyone forgot about it.
Yeah.
but you know, I also brought up this idea before on a stream with somebody, where I was like, hey, you know, I think I watched one of A Squad's videos, and I remember he said something in there about the canon of the story. Before Motherland released, he was talking about what Motherland could be a reboot and stuff like that. But I was sitting there thinking to myself, I said, you know, I'm wondering something here. I'm thinking about something here. If they were to think about crossovers whatsoever, people who are crossover fans, if they wanted a crossover, how cool would it be if, okay, so you got Wildlands, I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, but in Wildlands you have 2 different stories. You have the canon story, and then you have the story that's not real. Okay, you have the story where Bowman goes rogue, and she, you know, shoots El Sueño, and... you know, that's pretty much she's like the enemy of the state, right? So, if they were to implement like 2 different endings in this game, but do it in a way to where if they wanted to do a crossover, if you go back into pop culture and the movies and stuff like that, Rambo was an actual rogue agent. He went rogue. If they were to implement a Rambo crossover, that would be crazy. How they would do that. And plus the rewards, and, you know, you could put like Rambo's bow in there or something like that, or, you know, have where Bowman comes in and there's 2 different endings to Motherland, maybe. You know what I mean? like where, you know, you have the canon story where you're trying to, you know, restore, give power back to the outcasts, have them control the island, get rid of the Bodar presence, and just pretty much get the island back, right? But what if you were to implement a crossover within Motherland with Rambo, where you have another different story where maybe, I don't know, maybe she's contacting you outside of the CIA, and she's trying to have you do something, you know, do the mission at hand, and they have you link up with like a Rambo. I mean, I know it's far-fetched and it's reaching, but it makes more sense because, I mean, you got the jungle, you got so many elements that can play a role into the original story.
Did you play Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes by any chance?
I played Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain.
Okay, so this was like the... So right before that, there was a game. It was also Metal Gear Solid 5, but it was Ground Zeroes. And what, basically, just like a quick thing, it had its main story, and then it had like deja vu type stories. Like it's like, hey, these are side stories. These aren't like canon, but hey, this is it uses the same map, and here's a random plot. And there's a whole bunch of different weird, like, deja vu moment. Like, this seemed...
Yeah.
This seems like I've done this before. Yeah, like there's the body snatchers and...
Ground Zero came before Phantom Pain. It was the prelude to Phantom Pain.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it would have been cool if they did missions kind of like that. Like, it's completely separate, and it tells you it's separate. But it uses the same map, it uses the same characters, and it says this is Soweto historical. It's not. It's in the realm of possibility, but it's an alternate universe. That would have been pretty cool.
I think that, you know, if if anybody in the video has any ideas or anything like that. To bring up, I really think that, you know, instead of, and I'm not knocking on Delta guys, I think all the Delta company people are stand-up people. I think they're straight up. But I think that Ubisoft too needs to like implement like kind of like in I know that they have the forums and they have the suggestions and feedback and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people argue about the feedback, you know, and them reaching back and getting a hold of them and stuff like that. But if they were to actually get like a group full of people, like you don't have to release their names, just get people who are like diehard Ghost Recon fans, you know, and who know the lore and know what people want to see, you know, along with Delta, you know what I mean, and just implement like a larger group.
That's what they did for Breakpoint. They did that for Breakpoint. They had consultants, paid consultants that were Ghost Recon fans, and Dark Dally was one of them.
Okay.
There were a couple of them. And now, did they listen to the consultants? Probably not, because the story seems kind of
I would
whack.
say that's probably.
But they did, at least on paper, have consultants.
Yeah, I think they actually got some people who were actually present in the military in itself.
Yeah, they did.
To give feedback on like the motions, you know, like the motion captures and the weapons and stuff like that. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, I mean it's just.
But
maybe it's
they still
because
fucked
you
it
know
up.
like.
You got the calibers wrong. But they did that for balancing issues because it's a PvP and PvE game. And that's where the issue is. So I'm kind of alone in this, but I think Frontline's a good idea just in the fact that, hey, it's separating PvP Ghost Recon from PvE Ghost Recon. They need to be separate games.
I said that about Wildlands. I'm like, you know, if you want to build a multiplayer base, because at the time Wildlands was released, you already had a lot of people that were on the Battle Royale type of game modes. So it's like, you know, not a lot of people pay attention to the PvP. Don't take this at face value. But I know that when I went into PvP matchups, even in Wildlands, it was hard to get into a match sometimes. But I knew that I never had any complication logging into Warzone or anything like that because, it was instant. It was like, it's... You gotta know your fan base. And if you want to build a Ghost Recon game, I'm all for it. But what I would say is to avoid the confusion and to avoid the pushback on the Ghost Recon community, I would say that if you're going to do a Battle Royale game, okay, let's say it's Frontline, don't attach Ghost Recon to it.
I mean,
do something legitimate. Like, I don't care if it's something as simple as like calling it like Tom Clancy's Outcast or making like a separate title, Contractor or whatever. Like but
so here's what I think with it. I think they should mix Division's PvP, Division, and Ghost Recon's PvP. Pretty much make it one title, and it can have like the Ghost Recon like military.
That would be awesome.
And then it can be. And then here's the thing. Then they can use characters from both games. They can use storylines from both games. They can use. And they're creating two separate titles. It's like they're creating Frontlines, and then they're also creating Heartlands. Why couldn't they have just created one title? You know what I mean? It's just really, really awkward. And then they can have Dark Zones, but they can have like military Dark Zones too. Like it's really weird. And then even Rainbow Six, they could add like Rainbow Six in that somehow. Like just turn it into a giant Ubisoft like tactical shooter PvP experience.
You know what? Like, see, this is one of the things where it just, I think if they were to implement that, I think that would be like probably the best idea. Like, you're definitely onto something with that.
Because then you could have cleaners. You could have cleaners fighting like wolves. Like that would be. Or LMB fighting wolves, and like you know how cool that would kind of be, man. And I actually think they should restrict the outfits, like kind of not towards skins, but maybe like restrict it to factions. Like say there's a whole bunch of costumes, right? And you earn costumes through gameplay, whatever the fuck. It's a paid
different categories, like
right.
different.
So say
brackets.
it's SAS versus wolves. You have all these different outfits that you've unlocked for the SAS, and you have all these different outfits you've unlocked for the wolves. So you still have the customizability, but you still look like the faction you're playing as. Instead of having like orange hair and running around with a you know what I mean? Like it keeps that tactical shooter vibe, but you still have the customizability.
100, dude. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I just want you're talking about like the pink hair and stuff like that. Like the hairstyles they have in this game is completely. It makes me.
It's kind of whack.
It makes me crack.
Oh shit! I just lost my checkpoint. Fuck. It's okay.
You got the when a Terminator event went live. I'll never forget. I went to go play the first mission, and I went into the hairstyles. I'm like, I'm gonna see what all kind of content they added. I'm gonna see everything like this, lockables. I'm gonna see what the missions are, the challenges. So I went in there and I'm like, man, like, what is up with this punk haircut? Like, why did they add something like that into the game? I don't think there was anybody in the Terminator movie, like in the franchise, who had a haircut like that, but they added it as a punk haircut. I'm like, come on now, like that's not. No operator would have that haircut.
Oh yeah.
systems.
Well, even in this game, we had seasons when it first dropped.
Right. But do you think that they should? I want to get. I want to hear what your intake, what your input is on this issue here. So, when the game first started, they had the. I think it was okay. So I'm going over to the.
Hey, Mouse.
Up here. Hey, what's going on, Mouse? Oh, not much, man. Nothing much. Just having a little discussion here. A little discussion. I really feel like in Breakpoint they should have added the crate system back where you unlocked and had rare gear that you're able to obtain over doing certain missions, like even bringing over the task force missions and having a task force in general. If they would have had implemented that into this game, I think it would have did great too. I think it would have made a difference. The battle rewards, exactly.
Yep.
Yes. I'm sorry, man. I've been drowned in Ghost Recon Breakpoint for about 2 years. I almost have to get back to Wildlands to get back that nostalgia.
I know. It's ridiculous, man. And like I was thinking like earlier, and I'm like, even Call of Duty's changed a lot. Like if you go back to the best Call of Duty game ever, which was Call of Duty World at War, right? They introduced zombies for the first time. They had tanks in multiplayer, like drivable tanks around the map that would spawn. There was one per side. Like it was, it was like the first actual, like game that started scaling up, I guess. Like going away from just PvP or whatever, like just traditional team deathmatch.
I just want to add too, man, because with this new AI they implemented in Operation Motherland, if you have your difficulty set to extreme, which when I was in Wildlands I was set to extreme as well, and I run extreme no HUD everywhere I go. But the one thing that I noticed was that they improved. One of the big improvements they made was on the new archetype of enemies, the AI enemies that were implemented into this game too as well. I really thought it was going to be lackluster. I didn't think it was going to actually come to fruit. Like it was going to bring people, have people appreciate the gunplay. But I can tell you right now, dude. Ever since this update released, I'm lost in the actual. I'm lost in Conquest. I will probably never go back to story mode. Just to be honest with you all. Never. I will never go back there.
I feel that 100%. And I was playing with Fox Zero Tactical, and I'm not a Milestone person at all. At all. But when I was playing with him, man, and when it was just the base game, I didn't really like doing it either, because I did it a couple times with him, and it was eh. But against the Russians, bro, it's putting me into actually feeling like I'm in combat. It's pretty nice. We were just off the road, just sniping people, doing some missions. It was oh my god, this is crazy. They have so much more patrols and such a more armored presence. The vehicles driving on the roads, the helicopters, they're just so much more heavily armored, and so the troop types are so much more complicated. If you try to take
for example,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead, man. I want you to finish up. Now I'm gonna piggyback on what you just said.
All right. So obviously, if you're sitting there sniping enemies off the side of the road, and then you snipe one, and then there's an invisible guy next to him that sees him, it's oh shit, I didn't see him. Or it's you take a shot, and it turns out to be an armored enemy, and it just pings off his armor. You're shit. Or you shoot somebody in the head, and then their helmet falls off, and he still has one shot to go. It's oh fuck. The enemy archetypes are so much more complicated.
And piggyback on what you just said, okay, so there was a base to right towards the end. It was debate. I wouldn't say it was towards the end. Actually, I think it's kind of towards the middle where you had to rescue the 3 hostages, and you can't get spotted, right? So I like to play personally. My play style is I don't like to use like sink shot drones. I don't like to use those. I want to use my gun in my hand at the time.
Mhm.
Like I try to keep things 100 compared to what they would do in real life. You know what I mean? Like, but one of the things I like to do, one of the things I've noticed, I should say, is the fact that whenever, like, okay, you got the breachers, right? You got the, what are they called? The new enemy archetype breacher for the boat arcs. Where they, not
Trooper.
the oppressor.
No, Trooper, I think. Seeker, Trooper, one of the two.
The seeker's the optical.
Yeah. The Trooper's the main ground troop. I think the troopers just are split into two categories, rushers and regs.
But the breachers, and the dreadnought, right? So I noticed that a lot of these bases have a lot of dreadnoughts and a lot of troopers. You know, like a lot of breachers, the boat arc breachers. That's what I like to call them. Keeps it simple for me, anyway. But I noticed that if you compare it to the original gameplay with Sentinel and Wolves, right? So, you know, when the game first launched, you go to a Wolf base, you're like, oh man, they're supposed to be the elite. But really, you're sitting like 80 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters away, 300 meters, and you're killing them with one shot, right? And a headshot. You're just knocking them out. And then you have these dreadnoughts, more enemy archetypes that are not like the heavies. The heavies are annoying because they're big, they're slow, and they're just completely unrealistic whatsoever. You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like they're a waste. You know what I mean? But you're going to a base, instead of you going into a boat arc base where it's nothing but boat arcs, you can't tackle it like the way you used to with the wolf, like a wolf base or a sentinel base. You have to strategically plan around, watch their movement, watch their pattern, know where they're patrolling, and you have to constantly you have to plan constantly around that. And plus, I noticed this too: a lot of callers.
Oh yeah, lots of reinforcements.
A crap ton of callers. Yes. And that's what makes it all the more challenging, too, because you're like, well, if I shoot this guy and this guy sees it, he's going to call for reinforcements. And they have it pinpoint with the callers for the boat arcs. I noticed if you go through the story mode and watch how a sentinel caller calls out the calls, they'll sit out in the wide open. They'll run like right out in front of you, in front of a crate, and sit and call. With the boat arcs, they actually go into the building. They actually go out of your line of sight completely.
Yeah, like I went into an underground base that's in one of the missions, and I left the caller up there, bro. I came out of the base, there was 5 enemy attack choppers, like missile attack choppers, waiting for me outside, bro. 5. I was like, what the fuck?
But that's exactly like, that's what I'm saying, like, man, like, these new enemy archetypes, man, I wouldn't say, like, you know, if they were dead set on making it to be about the wolves, the sentinels, and the story plot like they had it originally, at least make the AI exactly how the boat arcs are from day one. What exactly was missing from day one at launch? What exactly changed from day one to now? From launch to now, what has changed? Why couldn't they have gone back to the books way back when people were in the forums saying, hey, change this, change this, change this? And they had so much pushback. Why could they not?
Yep.
Why could they not then do that and make everybody within the franchise, just make everyone happy? That listen, majority of it is listening. Like, if you can't listen, listening is probably the key component and the key ingredient to making a change. If you're not listening to the core base, and you're not listening to what needs to be done, you know, like, I'll be perfectly honest, dude. I really feel like they cheated Delta. I feel like they completely didn't listen and adhere to Delta the way they should have. And that made a lot of Delta members mad. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, especially PvP, man. The Delta members, man, they had some words.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I tell you, like it's just. I agree with everything that you all have said thus far, and I'm telling you right now, I'm sure somebody out there who's watching the video or watching right now could probably add more to it. You know, I'm sure. It's just, it's a laundry list of issues that I feel like now they just started working on. You know, it's disappointing.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
But, so I will say, like, you know, keep things light and, you know, kind of refers to any kind of tension or something. I'm very passionate about this too, as well as everybody else, but, you know, as far as it goes with the DLC, you know, I already know the answer to it, but would you guys say that this is like by far the best DLC that's came out since launch?
It's between, yes. So content-wise, yes, but it is between this one and I'd say Amber Sky, but that's just because of the way they did the missions in that one.
With the gas and stuff like that, like I thought that was pretty creative.
Well, and then there's the wasn't the Bodark missions part of that too, or was that separate? Was that a different one? The yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Was that Amber Sky? Amber Run? Which one was that part of? Or was that no? That was the one with Trey Stone. That was episode 3. I'm pretty sure. So that was like a main content update. So that was separate.
Amber Sky,
I think.
Amber Sky was the one with the gas. I know that.
Yeah, I liked the one that added like the Bodark takedown missions, and it was like all kind of separated out and everything. You know what I'm talking about? The original one that first introduced the Bodarks, the Bodark leaders.
That's Red Patriot.
Yeah, Red Patriot. That update was. Yeah, that update was one of my favorites. Just due to the amount of just due to the story content, honestly. And honestly, that content might have better like story than this one does, honestly. But this one just has so much more gameplay like elements to it. It's not just like set missions. It's like entire bases and everything, you know.
Well, Red Patriot was pretty good. I don't know how the hell I missed that. The end mission, the end mission with Red Patriot, you had to take down the captain. Where you were in that building, he had the chopper.
Yep.
He had the Bodark chopper, and he was trying to shoot you down. Dude, that was a good way to introduce Motherland. I think in my personal, like you shoot them, and then next thing you know, you're in the middle of doing something, and you know, like you get a radio transmission saying like, hey, you know, reinforcements and Bodark is coming in, and they're doing this, and you know, expect this, and like you have to plan around all these things.
Also,
like,
that DLC feels like it should have came kind of like either during or after this one. Like once you think about it, like
before. Well, I think the start of it.
The start of it before this one, but then like maybe the end takedown mission should have been probably after this update, because those guys are kind of higher up in the Bodark ranks, yeah. So I don't know. Like they're the main leaders of the Bodark, so it's kind of weird that we took out their leadership and then they came in with some random chick we've never heard of. I mean, that was kind of weird, yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
So maybe they should have even changed her story to where she came to like avenge them or something, and like that's the whole reason she wants to pin on Russia is so that the U.S. and Russia go to war to, I don't know, but the whole story right now with this update is kind of like after the honeymoon period is gone, it'll be like I think people start asking the more intelligent questions like you know, why does she want Russia and the United States to go to war? Like it'll end in nuclear destruction, and then she won't have a Russia to rule. So it is kind of like a weird plan there, and like she's just kind of like the the non-strategy bad guy. Like she has a plan, but it's so flawed that it would never occur. Pretty much. I don't know.
So question being, I'm gonna ask this, and would you be totally upset if they completely just did not follow through with adding more content to Breakpoint and focused on more of a new Ghost Recon title, which I hope to God they're not putting all their focus in Frontline, but
Frontline was being made by a different
Montreal,
Budapest.
Yeah,
Bucharest.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
like, Bucharest. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I said Budapest like a dumbass. I was thinking of Black Widow or something.
Well, I was going to say Montreal, so. I mean,
Oh yeah, it definitely wasn't Montreal.
Yeah, definitely wasn't them. They're okay in my book.
I think what's fucked up is they have the original company that made like the first Ghost Recon game or whatever is now making the new Division game, Heartlands. What is that company, man?
Dude, that's going to be great. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now.
That game's gonna be nice, but if that
Yes.
company would have made the next title for this series, we would have been spoiled. Especially with no PvP in it, because Frontline's a separate title. This would have been all PvE, no balancing. Like, it would have been great, man. Because then you don't
But
have to
I
worry
wonder,
about overpowered rocket launchers or, like, overpowered, like, whatever, because it's just PvE.
I hope massive. They actually regained a lot of, like, I lost faith with Massive at the start of Division 2.
Well, Massive's
And
not
then I
on
start-
Division anymore. They moved, they got moved
Yeah, I'm
over
saying, like,
to
the start.
Star Wars.
Yeah, like, I knew that they're developing new Star Wars, but at the start, but I'm wondering if any personnel, people from Massive, are going to actually kind of like branch off freelance, do some work with the new Division title. I mean, that would be kind of. I hope that's the case because they really regained a lot of faith in my eyes. The people who worked at Massive and what they all
The better
implemented
people,
with,
the
Warlords of
better
New York and
ones,
stuff
right?
like that.
The better ones that stayed with it and actually were producing great content, they'll probably be moved. What is it called? Red Storm or something? What is that company? Something like that. Something.
Red Storm.
I think that's the name
I
of
think
the.
it is.
Yeah. So hopefully, some of the ones that were like, because whoever
I'm
made
looking it
the
up.
raids, the first raid, especially on Division, like 2, that was nice. But what was it called? The missions. What were incursions? Those were nice in Division 1, and it didn't take as many players either, and the mechanics were pretty nice as well. Like Falcon Lost and all that.
Red Storm Entertainment. Yeah.
Oh, Red Storm. Yeah, I figured that's what it was called. But yeah, man. Hopefully we got some good people making these games. Hopefully the lazy, complacent fuckers that are sitting there touching women and shit instead of like working, hopefully they're gone. Cause I
You
mean,
can only hope, dude. Fucking day, man.
I'm just gonna blame the laziness on the rapists.
You know you're a rapist when you're lazy.
Exactly. When you're lazy and complacent.
Like,
Oh man.
but it's
It is, because those are the people that have gotten too comfortable, so they're more likely then to step out of line as well. Yeah. So it is actually probably
So-
statistically more reliant that those people are actually the ones that are most likely the ones more likely to step out of line because they're already stepping out of like the amount of work they're supposed to do, right? So I don't know. Hopefully these games don't launch with all these bugs that like Division 1 came out with. Red Storm hopefully cleans that up.
Oh man.
It's like, man, who let the grasshoppers back up in here?
But seriously, Dave, man, ask all the people, ask them, would they rather see a new Ghost Recon title, or would they rather see more content being added in to Breakpoint?
I've done that poll before, and it was actually surprising that like people wanted a Moa Island update more than they wanted a new game. Like they wanted more for what they've already paid for before they get something else. Which there is that bias there. Like they have already paid for this.
Well, if you really think about it, man, I think you can't get much better than what Motherland is, and I think that is the only way that they're probably going to wind up creating or keeping Breakpoint alive. Is like open up for us and let us access the whole map the way we were supposed to from day one at launch. That was promised.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
yeah. And we can only hope, bro. Like Moa Island, like everybody and their mom wants to see fucking Moa Island, bro. Because all the names of the locations were leaked. Because like you could fly over them at one point, and like there was.
I think somebody actually hacked into that on PC. There was a mod or something where they disabled something within the game file, and they were able to fly over there, and they were exploring through Moa Island.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah, there was a glitch. You can actually do that right now if you go in your pause menu and just fly over there on auto fly.
Really?
Yeah, you just come out of your pause menu for a couple seconds and then.
All right.
Yeah, you put your.
We'll have to do.
Or you can go into your pause menu and I can fly the thing, and then I can tell you when to unpause. I mean, whatever, you know.
All right.
I mean, we can do that if you want after I deliver these guys.
You know what? Yeah. Let's do that, man. Let's show everybody.
Yeah, I don't mind. Let me deliver these guys real quick, and then we can do that. No problem. Yeah, man, it's ridiculous, and that's the thing. A lot of people look at my content more towards like the like not so serious content or whatever. But I do passionately like this game, and like the only reason it's kind of lower end content is because I obviously don't have any video editing skills. Oh, this game, yeah,
100%. 100%. Oh my God! They were supposed to follow the formula of the original Ghost Recons in that too.
06. You know how they have Delta Company on here? I'm actually got accepted into 06's program once they start it for their game. They said they'll send me an email when they start doing all that. So
oh my dude,
I'll be in on their program for that game. So that's really nice, obviously.
What's your connection? Get me in that, dude.
What happened?
I said, get me in that, bro. I got a lot of ideas. Woo!
Oh, I applied. They have a website or something. I don't remember where, but I applied to the program and had to link my like whatever social media account I used, and I linked my YouTube, and then at the time I only had like 3,000 subs, but they still took me on. So I was like, oh well, they're desperate.
Well, dude, if you find that message, man, or the website, DM me that.
You should be able to just type in 06 and then it'll say like their company's website and then you just look up their company.
Let me see.
Yep. Or it might even just
dude,
be
like,
06.com or something, like, who knows.
What I like about it too is that it's like a linear, it's like a linear sandbox.
Yep.
So it's like you're not confined between like what I like to call like a such and such foot wall.
Yep.
You know where you can go. Like you have this little map, kind of like a Warzone map.
You want to
like
spawn on me real quick?
Yeah.
We'll fly over there. Egg Island, I think. Somewhere around there.
Oh, Kian picked me up. But yeah, like I just, man, 06. I feel like is. I'm not going to speak too soon now, but judging by the images I've seen and the ideas and inspiration behind it, I think that it's going to be a pretty good title.
Hopefully.
So, yeah, I think so. Don't like again, take that at face value.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I feel personally, in my opinion, I think it's going to be good.
Oh, you know what? This map actually cut. Oh no, never mind. It doesn't. I was just looking at it wrong. Are you in my helicopter? Or are you at the bivouac?
No fly zone, bro.
That's fine. I know how to fly in no-fly zones.
Hopefully like me, because Keen will tell you, I go down quick. Nah, man, like, I don't know what Ubisoft was thinking when they first released this game and how they thought the reception was going to be based off
the Snoop Dogg's trailer and shit.
Yeah,
that was a weird partnership.
Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne.
Yeah, that was all weird.
Like,
that was weird to me.
Yeah,
like getting rappers in on the tactical stuff, like paying them. It's like, what are you doing, guy? Like, what are you expecting
Snoop Dogg
from
comes
this?
in.
Make sure you're in your pause menu
in.
when we get up on this island.
Alright, let me know when to hit pause.
Well, you can hit pause now, and then I'll let you know when to unpause.
Alright. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Makes you think, though. Makes you think.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just ready for something, man.
If they would have followed the formula from day one, like they did with Motherland.
If they would have followed their own roadmap, they would have been fine.
Good. Yeah, dude.
They gave up on it too soon is what happened, and then they saw their stock prices fall, and then they're like, oh shit, let's fix that. Literally what happened too.
Ubisoft's like that's what happened.
They pulled the plug on all these games, and then they saw their stock prices drop, and none of their games were getting pre-orders. They're like, okay, we can send our teams back to these older games. Yeah, no problem.
No, you know what it was? You know what it was? You know what it was? They released the new Watch Dogs, and they thought that shit was going to bring in revenue. And then when they found out that game didn't do that great, they're like, oh man, what do we have left? Oh yeah, Ghost Recon.
Oh yeah.
They pulled the plug on the new Rainbow Six, like a year or so ago, when the new one coming out. Like I remember they pulled the plug. They're like, yeah, we're gonna halt everything right now because I think it was Extraction at the time. They're like, oh, we're gonna halt that shit. You know what I mean? And
focus on our current branded titles. Yep. Because all they got really is Division and Rainbow Six, and this Ghost Recon.
All they got,
I mean,
man.
watch, and Assassin's Creed, obviously, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry. I mean, they have a lot of titles. I don't know.
Assassin's Creed is probably the most money generated. I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I still play by the way.
I haven't bought it yet.
Is,
I'm waiting for it to go $10 or less.
I'll buy it for you, bro. You send me your link, I'll get it for you. Trust me, you'll love it. It's probably, some people will argue whether Odyssey was better. There's people out there, majority of people saying Black Flag is the it factor, which,
you can
honest
unpause.
to God, I'm
Welcome
going to agree
MOA.
with them. I'm going to, oh man, look at that.
It's kind of just barren land right now, but it's still pretty cool.
Oh man. But it's, some people argue that Black Flag is probably, it was the it. You there?
Black Flags was one of the best ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I blue screened. Hey, I'll relaunch my stream, guys.